All right, welcome everyone. So today we're going to take a look at the Merrell tactical shoes. I have worn these shoes for a couple years now. I'm always on the lookout for a good pair of shoes for shooting, doing outdoor activities, things like that. You know, something that's comfortable, but also too, I want good stability with them, especially when I'm doing things like competing in shooting matches and stuff like that. So a lot of times I get asked by different students that I have, hey, what do you think about these shoes? Are they any good? Should I buy them? So that's why I thought today we'd kind of go through them and hit them real quick, talk about them. And there's some good points about them. There's some other things about them that I don't maybe like as much. And I think it's one of those deals where there's a flip side to everything and you have to kind of decide what's important to you and what isn't. So let's get the box open here. So with these shoes, I've always bought them in, I think it's coyote brown, but I think there's black. There might be one other color available. These are pretty similar to their Moab type shoes, which I'm actually wearing right now. And thinking of that actually reminds me of one good key point with these is that for whatever reason, whatever materials that they use with these, they're nice and quiet. So I'm walking around in these Moab 2 Merrell shoes right now, and they're squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. So that's one good benefit with these. The other thing with these that I really like a lot that really helps me is good stability. So the whole sole, everything here, you know, whenever I'm shooting, you just don't have a lot of wiggle in these. Excellent stability for shooting. That's why I love them so much, because, you know, if I'm doing a match or something, I just get the best stability out of them. So that's a huge benefit with these. The stability is a big part of it. The other thing is they wear pretty well over time. Usually I can get, with rough use, I could get an easy 6 months out of them, no problem at all. I'll show you a used pair here that I've worn now for almost a year. So these are brand new. These are going to be the replacements for the ones I'm going to show you here in a minute. But yeah, they last a long time. They, you know, pretty much hold up pretty well. No big issues with them. One thing with them though, in terms of like I said, with the flip side with them, is that I had a student ask me about, hey, I'm standing outside, you know, on my post for 12 hours a day. You know, how comfortable are these? That is kind of maybe the flip side to it, is that it's kind of like I've seen some people online, in their reviews that they've mentioned, it's like standing on concrete. And so that is something you have to take into consideration with these, is that you're buying a tactical shoe and they're really good, like I said, for things like shooting or maybe running, stuff like that. But the downside with them is that they're not all that comfortable to stand around in. So if you're looking for a shoe that's comfortable, these not so much. So what I do to solve that problem is I always buy these Dr. Scholl's heavy duty support. And so every time I buy a set of these Merrell tactical shoes, I always go ahead and buy a set of these as well and just install them. And that pretty much fixes the problem. So, you know, that's what I do. So if you were going to go buy this shoe and it's something where you're standing at a post or you're on duty or something like that, and you're having to stand all day, you might not find these as comfortable as a lot of other shoes out there. So just something to kind of think about and take into consideration with these, okay? So great for, you know, shooting, running, jumping, whatever. Pretty stable, pretty quiet, overall really good. And I'll show you here a pair that I've been wearing for almost a year. So they are starting to get a little bit worn out there. Sole's starting to kind of wear a bit and wear itself off. Now, one kind of point that I've seen with these over time too is whatever the insert is in here, maybe it's made of cardboard or something like that, is that if you're one of those where you kind of tie the shoes up and you slide your foot in every day or whatever to put them on, and you don't tie your laces every day, sometimes I've run into an issue with whatever the cardboard is in here internally. It tends to kind of bunch up and fold up over time. So then you end up with a bit of issues with that. And then what happens is inside here on the inner part of the shoe, you'll feel like this ridge in here that's kind of up against your heel. So, I guess a lot of that could be mitigated by, just undoing your laces every day and then tying them up. But, a lot of times, like especially when I'm here at home, I'm just on the go and I just want to put the shoes on real quick, and inevitably that kind of ends up happening for some reason. So just something to kind of be aware of. Also too, I wouldn't say that these are really like a heavy duty cold weather shoe, probably more suited for warmer climates. And also they're not the most waterproof or water resistant shoe either. They don't do too bad, but you can kind of, if you do immerse them in water or whatever, you're going to get water inside of the shoe. That's just something to remember with these two. Overall, the bottom of them, they wear pretty well. On this one, it's starting to the edges are starting to kind of get worn, a bit. So, for a year, they hold up pretty good. So usually what I do is I have a pair that I buy for work only. When I start to kind of wear them out from working, then I kind of revert them to farm use. And, if they get wet or ripped or, tons of mud on them or whatever, I don't care. So usually I'm rotating them in and out. So yeah, I'd say these are excellent shoes. I like wearing them. If you're doing a lot of like tactical activities, it's a great shoe. And pretty happy with them overall. But I think you just have to remember, if you buy them, think about the comfort level with them. You're kind of exchanging the tactical side of it with it, the shoe being quiet, the shoe being stable, with maybe not the most comfortable shoe for standing around for long periods of time or things like that. And then also too, this back heel inside here seems to kind of wear a bit over time, whatever that insert is inside the shoe. So just have that awareness. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give these basically a 4 to 4.5 out of 5. And a good shoe overall. And I'm always on the lookout for good, comfortable, stable shoes for all the different activities that I do. So, I'm always open to ideas, but at least for right now, this is pretty much my go-to shoe. So thanks y'all, and have a good day. Okay, so just wanted to do a quick addendum to that first video, and just wanted to add in a few things and kind of clarify a few points. And I'll try to make this as brief as possible. But first up, one thing I wanted to make clear, which kind of came out kind of semi-clear in the first video, is kind of the noise factor. And that is one thing with these shoes, is they're very quiet. So it's kind of funny because this is a very similar shoe to the Moab 2, but yet the Moab 2, it's funny because you get it on different surfaces or whatever, it squeaks or makes a little bit of noise sometimes. And sometimes it can be very squeaky, but whatever Merrell used in the tread pattern for this, whatever the chemical makeup is or whatever it might be, they're very quiet. And compared to other shoes, these are some of the quietest shoes that I've ever worn. So if you're kind of looking for the whole tactical thing, these might be definitely worthy of your consideration. Second thing is that with these, I mentioned the whole comfort level deal. The thing I wanted to make clear about this is that in terms of my foot actually fitting in the shoe and wearing the shoe, they're very comfortable. And also I get these in a wide, and they're, to me, a true wide. Where a lot of manufacturers, they'll sell a shoe as a wide, and you're kind of like, nah, I don't think that's a wide. But these seem to be like a true wide. And so, I don't know, for me, the fit is very good, better compared to other shoes out there that I have found. And so in terms of wearing the shoe on your foot and all that, very comfortable. There's no pinch points or anything like that. So, just a very comfortable shoe in that sense in terms of the fit for me. The one thing I did mention in the first video, so I want everybody to be clear on, is in terms of where it's not comfortable, is that with this sole or the way it's designed or whatever, you know how a lot of shoes out there advertised today is like, oh, you're walking on a cushion of air and all that sort of thing. Well, this is kind of a very stout, tread, which, doesn't really bend or flex that well. And whatever padding or whatever support that they used in there, it's pretty stout. So it's not really like a shoe in terms of like if you have to stand or walk all day, I don't believe it's going to be as comfortable for you as perhaps other shoes. So that is something to kind of keep in mind. As I mentioned in the first video, I buy the Dr. Scholl's inserts and put those in instead of what Merrell gives you. And those seem to help a bit with that for me. So, it kind of just depends on what you're looking for. And I think in terms of where they were making a tactical shoe, perhaps some of that comfort level, wasn't as, prime a consideration. So like I said, they're very good. They're very grippy. They're very stable, all those sorts of things. So perhaps to get that, you give up, some other things with it. So just be aware of that. And it might be a thing where you might just want to try them out and kind of see, okay, well, I tried these for a while, but hey, I'm standing around for 12 or 14 hours a day. And, they are kind of a bit stout to stand in. And for other people, they might work just fine. So just all depends on kind of what you're looking for. I would just say for me, compared to other shoe brands that I've worn, if I'm doing a long day where I am standing pretty much all day, these tend not to be as comfortable on my feet in terms of standing on them, for that 12 or 14 hours a day or 10 hours a day or whatever it might be, where you're standing on concrete or gravel or whatever it is. So, it's just kind of a trade-off there, just something to think about. Like I said, I do use those inserts. The other thing I mentioned in the first video is about the back here around the heel. With this pair right here, I have not had that issue yet, where on previous pairs that did come up on some of them, not all of them. But at least on this pair, so far it has not been an issue. So anyways, I pretty much buy a pair of these every 6 months. And then once they get kind of a little bit run down, I switch them out of kind of my work pile and put them, to use on the farm until they totally wear out and the sole basically wears away. And, so every 6 months I get a new pair. So they work pretty good. So if you're interested in these, feel free to check out my Amazon link for these shoes. Any commissions that come off of that get kicked back to the channel here. And the more support the channel has, the more reviews and different videos that we can do. So, it helps me out quite a bit in terms of doing that. And then also to upgrading camera equipment and all that sort of stuff. So, definitely I'm supporting the channel. It's always one of those things where, it does go a long way. So also too, any questions that you might have about them, I've used these for years. So feel free to leave a question below. If it's something I can answer, I'll be glad to post an answer to it. I'm not a Merrell representative or anything like that. I'm just purely just a customer. So, but like I said, any questions you have, feel free to ask. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it's some value to you. And, y'all have a good one.